So we're on part 5 of the Ultimate Guide to Shows and Events for Equine Businesses, and we're talking now what we're going to do after the show to keep that flow going. So if you have been listening to the series, we've now done how to know if it's the right show, how to plan and prepare, how to have a successful show stand, how to make sure that you pack and get the essential trade show checklist. And then we're going to talk about, okay, we're going to keep the flow after the show. We're going to make sure that we're using that leverage of the show to maximize our success. So the success of a show doesn't end when the show ends. You need to be aware that we're looking at continuously keeping that flow. So I want you throughout the course of the year to be making sure that you're asking people, where did they find about you? How did you hear about them? So you can actually track your return on investment. And I know as the show ends, the chances are that you are going to be so tired and exhausted and you're ready to relax and put your feet up. And I so want you to do that. I want to make sure that you actually get that vital time to rest and relax, but also that your hard work continues to flow after, when you put your feet up. So here are some crucial steps that I think will really help you as you move forward. You're listening to the Stable Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Bush, here to chat all things equine business with a new episode every week from me or from the best in the biz. Now, don't forget to leave a review and, of course, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode when it drops. So welcome to the Stable Business Show. My name is Jenny Bush. I'm also known as the Equine Business Assistant. I'm a coach and consultant here to help you to raise your business up to the next level and improve your income and your stability using my Gallup frameworks and, of course, the Stable Foundations Hub. If you aren't already subscribed to the show, please do, because it really helps me to reach more people like you. And, of course, if you enjoy any of these, make sure that you share on Instagram and tag me so that I know. But today we're talking all about following up after the show and what you should do to make sure that you continue that success going. And just to make sure that actually you get the most out of the show, because we've spoken a little bit about how to leverage the show, but what do we do once it's finished? So, of course, I want to make sure that you're following up with any leads promptly. So if you were able to collect any email addresses, if you were able to collect any data, like go and put them into your system as quick as you can and have that already go out and send them the emails. The quicker that you can get that done, the better. Because it means you can put your feet up and you can know that you're doing it. And it can be a case of just uploading it to your system and letting it go and do its thing. You can have that already done ahead of time when you're in the planning process. So it will save you a lot of time and effort and worry if you've already know how you're going to follow up with people. And if not, just block it into your time, into your calendar. And I'm a big fan of having everything as appointments on the calendar. So put some time ahead, like when you're planning out beforehand, when am I going to follow up with leads, and do it then. And then you can tell people, okay, I'm going to take a couple of days off to recover from the show, but I'll be following up with you on Thursday. Or, so then they're ready for it. They're waiting for it because you've already said that you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And you've got to do it. You've so got to do it. Don't think I'm not going to follow up with people, because you do really, really need to do that. Then step number 2 is you're going to take some time to actually reflect and review on the event experience. What went well? What could be improved for future events? And put that in place while it's still fresh in your memory. Because if you give it too long, you might forget some things. So at least have that documented down and maybe put it in with your show kit. So when you come to plan for your next one or whatever you're doing, you're like, okay, here's what I said last time. This is what I thought would go well. And you could even be doing that as the show is going on. So have a notepad to hand and go, these are my notes of the show. These are the things that I thought went well. These are things that I saw other people doing. I want to put that in place next time, so that you've got that reflection, because it's really important to refine our strategies and to so we can make informed decisions as we go forward. So think about that reflection process and how you're going to do that after the show as well. And point 3 is all about we're going to store and organise everything. And I know it's really tempting at the end of the show to just chuck it all away and go home and chill. But actually, if you've got a system that you've already worked out that is still a little bit light, I can just chuck it in there, but you know where everything goes, you can organise it as you're packing it away. And it just means that life is so much easier the next time you go for a show. It means you're not having to spend another 2-3 days sorting out the show stuff, essentially. So can you make sure that you store it somewhere that it's able to access easily, and it's catalogued somehow, and that you've got a note of your stocks and your brochure samples, and they're all in places that you can use them. One of the things that I used to do is I used to use suitcases, actually, and that's crazy, but I used to use suitcases, and they'd all be labelled as to what goes in where, and they were on wheels, and it made life easy to transport things, and I just chuck them up in the loft at the end of the day. But think about, how can I make sure that I can pack this away easily and in a way that it doesn't make it damaged at the end, because I will be tired and I just want to just chuck it all in and go. Number 4 is about identifying anything that needs replacement. So as you're putting things away, inspect things and go, okay, what wear and tear, what needs to go in the bin. And actually, if you can get rid of stuff quite quickly and have a bin bag, you probably have to take it away with you. You can't leave it at the event, but you can already have that put aside, and you've got a note of what you need to replace and get it gone as soon as you get home and you're unpacking the van or unpacking the car or whatever it is that you put everything in. The other thing you're going to do is also make sure that you're identifying anything that needs replacement or refurbishment, and you want to make sure that every time you're doing a show that you are maintaining this fresh and professional appearance. So to keep that impression for attendees, you need to be looking after your kit. It's an investment. It costs a lot of money. You don't want to be just bashing it around a bit all the time. So the other thing after the show is you're going to utilise your social media and PR. So I want you to keep that buzz alive, so you can schedule in advance, like the highlights, the testimonials, and behind the scenes moments, and you can keep that buzz going days after the show. There's often this big sort of, the show comes and then there's this lull, but actually going, okay, how can I go, oh my gosh, this was amazing, these are our top highlights, we're going to share them. One of the things that I did after last year's show, I wasn't exhibiting, but I created some content there. I went around and I videoed people, and then I put out some videos of the fellow exhibitors, and everybody was really excited about that, and that kept some of the buzz of the show going even after the show had finished, which was a nice sort of finishing touch. And maybe you could do something similar. And then again, consider pitching like event recaps, success stories. Maybe there's publications that they'd like that. Maybe even the show organisers would like your success stories, your recaps, so that they can put them out and they can share them with people for next year, and then you can get your business out there again for next year. So consider all those options that you've got to keep that flow going after the show. Point number 6 is about your return on investment, like to analyse your return on investment, because ultimately it's the most important thing. There's no point doing it if you're not going to get any return on your investment at all. And we need to be aware of what our purpose was and how we're going to measure that. And I discussed that more in part 1, about the short term and the longer term, less tangible returns that we can get. But actually take some time to go and look at your insights and your metrics. Go and see if there's any change on your social media. See if there's any change on the visits to your website. Has it worked? Have you managed to generate that? Have you got leads? How many leads have you got? What were your sales? And run the numbers. Like, it's so important to run the numbers, because that will help you to show that you have generated some return on your investment. Because it's not all about the sales on the show. It's not all about the sales on the show. Like, what comes later from the show is what we're there for ultimately. So compare those statistics with your pre-show statistics, and again look at your goals and see what the actual impact of the show has been on your business, and then you can use that for when you're planning future events and so on. Which then brings me on to planning for future events. Use your post-event analysis to actually inform your approach for future events. So what's going to work? Like, consider adjusting your booth layout. What didn't work this time? What promotional tactics have you learned? What have you seen other people do? You thought, oh my gosh, that's genius, and I could bring something like that in. We don't copy, but you could think, how could I twist that for what I do? But start planning early for possible upcoming events, and then you're going to be open to looking for those opportunities, looking to be savvier when it comes to booking your things, looking to go, okay, I know that you can do this and I know you can do that, and maximising your networking and your lead generation and your brand exposure. So I hope you've enjoyed this little series. But in conclusion, like, a trade show or event can be a beginning of a real amazing phase in your marketing journey, and sometimes they're the key highlights. And I've still got memories of times when I've done shows and people that I've met through shows, and how that still trickled on. I'm still friends with people even all these years after even closing the business, that I met at trade shows. So I hope you find use in this series. Do let me know if it's been a useful series and you'd like any more content around this. And again, if you've got any questions on it, head to the Equestrian Business Support Network. I'm happy to support you. I'm happy to help answer any questions. But you've also got the network there, so they can help you too. They can give you some advice. They can share their tips and success strategies as well. And hopefully, by following these tips and these practices, you can actually leverage your experience and nurture relationships and see the real value in doing the trade shows. So I hope this has helped, and don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, like seriously, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all really, really soon. Take care.